I have 6 examples here that I want to walk us through to see how you might spell Deborah, Montana, Steve, Ohio, Ben, and Georgia, for example. So let's look at those. Let's start our demonstration by spelling the word Deborah. The first step in spelling our name, or any word for that matter, is to divide it into the different syllables, because remember, Mayan does not have single letters, but rather dual letters. They have syllables. So you're going to look for the syllable de, bo, and ra. This word will have 3 Mayan glyphs that will come together to spell the word Deborah. So let's go up into our syllabary up on top and find the first syllable of de. We have here ba, be, bi, bo, and boo, cha, che, chi, cho, and chu. But notice there's no d. They have a ch, but we don't have that sound in English or in Spanish, so I don't include it in our syllabary for what we're going to be using this for. But right here should be a D, but there's not. So the problem is we need to go to the list of substitutes to see how they would substitute that sound. Here on our substitute list, it has D. You're going to use a T. So instead of DE, you're going to look for TE. Ta, te. So this is going to be the syllable, the glyph that you're going to use for the very first one. So let's choose that one and bring it down. Now we have that syllable for te. Now we're going to look for bo. And thankfully they have that one. This is bo. So we choose that and include that. So we have te, bo. Now we're looking for ra. Notice we have N, P, S, T. We're skipping the R. There's no R sound in Mayan. So we're going to look down on our substitute list and realize that R is going to be substituted with an L. So instead of ra, we're going to be looking for la. So we have la, le, li, lo, and lu. So we can choose any one of these. This is la, 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 and la. Let's choose this one. And now we have tebora. But they're not going to be left to right like this in English. We're going to arrange them in a way that would be kind of interesting to look at. And there's no right way or wrong way here, not necessarily. So let's see what we can do here. If we take this one, we can put it underneath. And if we take this one, we can put it underneath. That would be one way to spell Deborah. Another way might be to put these two next to each other, and maybe this one underneath one of those. That also would be Deborah or Tebora. So you can see there are multiple ways to do this that are correct. There's no one correct way to do it. There's whatever you think looks best, and you're going to want to think about going left to right and then top down when you spell your name. Let's turn our attention to Montana now. I chose Montana because it has this little letter right here where we had to add a new syllable. Instead of Montana, we have to say monotana. If you have to add a syllable like this, normally the general rule is you'll choose this vowel that's the same as the vowel from the syllable that came in front of it. You could choose na, ne, ni, no, or nu here, but you would usually use the one that comes right before it. You could also, in this case, use the one that comes after it, manatana, if you wanted to do that, because you already have a na, and you could use a na, but I don't think there's a right or a wrong way. So let's do this. We have mo, ma, me, mi, mo. We have just one option here. This is going to be our mo for Montana. Here's the mo. Then we're going to look at the no. We have na, ne, ni, no, and nu. And this is going to be the only no available for us. So we'll choose that. We have mo, no. Now let's look for ta. Ta, te, ti, to, tu. We have all of these different versions for ta. What's a good one? I'm going to go with a skinny one. This one here. We have mo, no, ta. Now let's look for na. These are our different versions for na. What's a good one? I'm going to choose one that goes on top here. Right here. These are the 4 individual glyphs for monotana, Montana. Let's combine them in a couple different ways. Let's move the mo and no together. I put the ta underneath, and now I'm going to put this other one on top. So we have Montana, but I want to make this other one larger so it kind of looks like it's in proportion. That looks like a good Montana to me. It has all 4 glyphs and it puts them together in a way that looks like a good solid image that would represent the word Montana. Let's move on to Steve. 2 syllables, so it should be pretty easy for us. So let's look at the STE. It looks like there is no ST, so let's look at the substitution list to see what they can do. ST in Mayan is going to be ts, TZ. So let's go back up to the syllabary and see if we can find the ts. And they do. They have tsa. They don't have a ts. Tsi, tso, and tsu. I think the one that sounds best would be one of these. So it'd be like tsi. So let's choose one. I like this looking guy. And because we chose this vowel, tsi, I think for the next one we should also include that same vowel. But notice there's no V sound. T, there's no V, so we have to look at the substitution list again. So the substitute for V is going to be W. So let's look back up at the W list. W, let's use that same I. There's only one choice here. So that'll be the choice we'll use for the second glyph. That looks like a really great way to spell Steve. And there's not a whole lot of other options because there's only one glyph for each. They're both substitutes. So pretty much that's how you're going to spell Steve. You'll put those 2 glyphs together. Let's look at Ohio. And I chose Ohio because it starts with, instead of a consonant, it starts with a vowel, O. So let's look right at the vowels on the very far upper left of our canvas. These are the options we have for O. I'm going to choose the big head here. It looks kind of like maybe it's a bird head of some sort. There's the O for Ohio. Now let's look at HI. Ha, he, he, ho, hu. So this is going to be he. Let's choose this one. Let's put this on his head. So far we have O and hi. And then we'll look at O again. Let's go back to O, and we have 3 different options over there. We have what looks like a couple different feathers, perhaps. Let's choose one of these. I like this one because it looks like an exclamation point. Let's choose this one. I think that's a great glyph for Ohio. We'll do 2 more. We have Ben and Georgia. Ben, again, would just be B-E-N in English, but because it ends in a noun, it has to have that n sound. It has to have a syllable, not just one letter. And you can use the same vowel after the second one is used for the first one. So instead of Benna or Benno or Benny, you'll just say Benne because that sound is already in your mouth. So you'll write Benne, but you'll still pronounce it Ben. So let's look at B-E. Be one of these 2. I like simple things, so I'm going to choose a simple one here on the bottom. That's a good one for be. Now let's look at ne. We have 5 different choices for the ne. Let's choose this question mark looking thing and see what we can do there. See if we can put that even out in front. That looks like a good ben. Benne. Usually you'll go left to right, but I kind of like that thing. If you were to squish that up there, you can put that right on the front. That might be a good way to do that. That would be a good ben. One of many options you could choose. Let's finish up now with Georgia. After we do Georgia, remember now it's going to be your turn to choose these combination of glyphs from the syllabary to create a really cool symbol, a cool glyph that represents you. That's your name. Georgia. As we go up to the syllabary, notice CH and then there's no G. We have to go down to our substitution list now to see what we would substitute that with. We have 2 G's. One is pronounced like J as in George, and the other is G like in Gary. If it were that one, we would change, instead of a G, we would use a K, like Gary would be Kari. And in this case, we're going to use George. We're going to have C-H-E, che. So we have 3 options to choose from. Let's use this top one here. Let's get started with that. One option for che. Let's look at O. I like this bird one again. So far, so good. We have che-O. Let's look at ro. Notice there's no R again. R is going to be substituted with L. So instead of R-O, it'll be L-O. We only have one option for that, so let's choose that and bring that down. We will look now at the J, but remember that sound isn't going to be there, so let's go back to what it was. It's going to be CH again, so it'll be CHI. Let's choose this hand. And the last one we need now is an A. This is a really cool symbol for A. Let's use that one. I like this symbol, but I'm going to flip it and see what it would look like at the back. Yeah, let's see. We now have all the symbols, but I'm going to arrange them just a little bit differently. There. I think that's a pretty good option for Georgia. Now keep in mind, I'm not professional at this. This has not been my career, and I'm probably doing a couple of things wrong. But in a general sense, this is how you would do this. And there might be certain words that would be spelled a certain way. If you were a professional epigrapher, which is a person who does this for a living, they might be appalled at what I just taught you. But I think for the most part, we're on the right track. You choose syllables from the syllabary, arrange them left to right, top down. You use substitutes for letters that do not exist, and you create a glyph that looks interesting. That's the bottom line. Those are the 4 steps of creating a glyph that represents you, that is your name and Mayan glyphs, and have fun with this. You might run into an epigrapher that would be like, no way, there's no way that that would be your name. And if that's the case and you run into an epigrapher, they can show you even more and you can continue to even learn even more about this. To me, this is absolutely fascinating. The fact that you can do this, that we know this information, again, that took well over 100 years to figure out, and you, in the matter of a 10-minute video, know how to do this. You have a pretty good chance at understanding how this all works. And people went 100 years and didn't know how this works, and you learned in a matter of 10 minutes. So I think that's pretty cool. And now it's your turn. Go ahead and use this syllabary and this information and create your own name. It's now your turn. Have fun.